Hi, I'm Anthony Lister. I'm a painter. My work is like figurative paintings based on social observations, but ambiguous in its nature. It's colourful. I try to make things that I like. I was raised sort of with butcher's paper and pencils by my grandparents when I was left at their house on weekends by my parents, and I've always drawn. Drawing's been the thing that I've always sort of been encouraged to do. I've moved through, school and university and got degrees for painting and whatnot. I guess where I've come from to get where I am is a process of reverting to pure instinct about how I want to feel when I'm painting more than how I want a painting to look. It's been a process of sort of de-skilling and de-informing myself from what I've been absorbed with through the institutions, really. It's kind of like traveling in a way when you talk to people about places you've been, and when I was younger and I'd hear of people that had been to amazing places or places that I thought were amazing, I could never imagine what it would be like. University is the same sort of way, that once you've done it and been there, it isn't sort of that big of a deal and you can move on and evolve. I went through university in Queensland in Australia, and once I left university I applied for a mentorship in New York City and went and did that kind of like a year after uni, and ever since then I've had this sort of relationship with New York where I've always wanted to be back there. So, for the last 5 years I've sort of been there on and off, and yeah, it's good. So now I'm just trying to be in the studio and to not focus on what's going on so much. You're only as good as your last piece. You're only as smart as your last decision. You can always reinvent yourself. It's all about the work. It's all about the work. Yeah. So I'd just say make the work, and make work that you're happy with, and try not to care what other people think. Aesthetically, we aren't very similar. The relationship was based more on relationship and just sort of energy. He's an older artist, born in New Zealand, 30-year New York resident. He works in sort of in a Edo Japanese calligraphy type of energy-based Zen Buddhist practice. I guess the most beneficial experience that I got from him was probably just coming to grips with the longevity of committing to a practice, and just the awareness of sacrifices that need to be made, and and not to expect too much. I mean, it's a good thing to be broken in a Shaolin type of way. Through him, I met a bunch of young artists within a collective called 1980 in New York. Who was the leader of that group was. He was working for Max as well, and we were the same age, so that went on to be my connection to New York. And through that, I joined the collective 1980, and through that I became a part of the collective reality video games with Brock Enright, where I was to do with a collective where they went around and kidnapped people and sort of for money. Like, that was his art practice. So we were a band of kidnappers of sort of fetish kidnapping art practice, where people would want to be, psychologically challenged. Through those group of people, I've been able to move my way up in the New York world of just knowing the locals there and the people that have studied there, and we're all the same age, so it's it's just this sort of Brooklyn community. The motivation behind me sort of gaining the sort of exposure that I have has been pretty progressive, but also natural. It's just making making the most of opportunities. I enjoy London. It's something that's sort of growing on me. It's like LA in a way. The first couple of times I hang out here, it was, I didn't really get it at first, but now I enjoy London. I've been painting single paintings for a long time, and when I paint, it's pretty spontaneous, and I try to keep it raw, and I try to make it more for me about the feeling of how I want to apply the paint and how I want the paint to feel when I'm applying it, and then the product of it is sort of, it's a delight to be able to be happy with something, and I never leave anything until I'm happy with it. But these pieces specifically were, I've painted these monkeys for a while. I'm fascinated with antique toys. I'm fascinated with toys in general, really. So this is sort of something that I own in my studio and I like to use as study of. But when I do one of them, it's sort of like it's easy. Or it's not easy. It's just it's just a one-off. And I feel like if I can paint something, if you paint something once, it may have been a trick, or it may have been a mistake. I guess by painting something twice, I just confirm I meant what I was doing. It's like a skateboarding, you can do a trick and completely fluke it, and you can get it on film and you can own that trick. But when you can do a trick twice, that means you can really do it. I don't get obsessed over perfecting, the equal elements, but I do try to keep them level with each other. And it's interesting when I'm doing it, if you make a mistake on one, you have to make the mistake the same on the other one in order to correct them in the same way. People tend to buy them in pairs. I like them to be owned as pairs, but I like them to be exhibited as pairs. But as far as them as an object or as an entity to live in people's space, I really don't mind if they're single. Actually, I think that it gives them more strength to be able to be accepted as a single image, because the whole creation of them was a consideration. So for them to be able to survive on their own is almost like it's a homage to their ability to be strong images. This one's called Ever Dance with a Suicide Blonde. Mr. Dynamite in a tuxedo, dancing with a blow-up doll. The illusion of sexual prowess, the illusion of what is real, the party element to do with the detachment of emotional connection, the bombs to signify the ephemeral, destructive nature, to do with the social mentality, to do with the womanizing of beautiful things. Well, I've always been a lover of superheroes and mythology and, heroes and villains. When I was 12, my grandma got me a subscription for Spider-Man, and I guess it kind of just, it always existed before that, but that was when it became polarized as a thing that identified me as a character. That was when I embraced it as a part of my life. I like a lot of things about it, especially the connection to me and the relationship when I was a youth, and coming to grips with moral decisions, meaning of life shit. When I was a kid, my mum actually said, what's the deal with this, with God, and she explained it to me like Star Wars, think of it like the Force. So I guess the relationship between modern contemporary mythology has always played sort of a larger role in my development as a man than religion. I've been working on some new sculptures. I've always been interested in sculpture. I've always been building it. I never really exhibit it, but I thought I would, send one just for fun to see how it goes. It's had a good response. Yeah. This is like a figure. I've been making lots of figures lately. I actually made some of my children drawing down low, and in a show coming up, I'm going to have sort of the gallery completely covered in chalk drawings and hopscotch, and the children, they're doing that. So, it's, the sculpture thing is progressive. It's another extension of my practice where I feel less obligated to stick to, the things that I'm known for doing. This is sort of something where I have fun with because, it's all free and new to me. Like when I work on the street, there's no expectation from the viewer. It's it's fun for me. So, which is how I want my work to always feel. I just want to keep doing this forever. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.